The buzzing of my phone jolted me from my afternoon nap. I reached for it, expecting to see a message from Jason about his late meeting. Instead, an unfamiliar number flashed across the screen. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened the text. "Hey babe, can't wait to see you tonight. Wear that red dress I love." V. My heart stopped. This couldn't be for Jason, could it? With trembling fingers, I scrolled through the message history. My world crumbled with each flirtatious exchange I read. "Martha, are you home?" Jason's voice echoed from downstairs. I quickly locked the phone and composed myself. "In the bedroom, honey." Jason appeared in the doorway, his tie loosened and a smile on his face. "Sorry I'm late, the meeting ran over." I forced a smile. "No problem. How was your day?" Same old, same old. Listen, I've got to run out again tonight. Work dinner." My stomach churned. "Oh, with whom?" "Just some clients," he said, avoiding my gaze. "Don't wait up for me." As he turned to leave, I blurted out, "Jason, who's V?" He froze, his hand on the doorknob. Slowly, he turned to face me, his expression unreadable. "What are you talking about?" I held up his phone. "I saw the messages, Jason. Who is she?" The silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken truths. Finally, Jason sighed. "Martha, we need to talk." Those 4 words confirmed my worst fears. As I braced myself for the conversation that would change everything, I realized our perfect life had been nothing but an illusion. I stared at Jason, my heart pounding. "Talk? About what, exactly? The fact that you've been cheating on me?" Jason's face hardened. "Look, Martha, I didn't want you to find out like this, but yes, I've been seeing someone else." "Violet," I spat out the name. "How long?" He shrugged, his indifference like a knife to my heart. 6 months, but it doesn't matter now. I'm in love with her, Martha." The room spun. "In love? What about our marriage? Our family?" "I'm sorry, but I can't pretend anymore. Violet and I, we're planning a future together." I felt the floor drop out from under me. "A future? What does that mean?" Jason took a deep breath. "I want a divorce. And I'm going to marry Violet." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stumbled backward, gripping the edge of the dresser for support. "You can't be serious. What about our children?" "They'll understand in time," Jason said, his voice maddeningly calm. "I'm not happy, Martha. I haven't been for a long time." Anger surged through me, replacing the shock. "And you think abandoning your family is the answer? You're throwing away 20 years for some girl?" "She's not just some girl," Jason snapped. "Violet understands me. She supports my dreams." I laughed bitterly. "Your dreams? What about our dreams, Jason? The ones we built together?" He looked away, unable to meet my eyes. "I'm sorry, Martha, but my mind's made up." As Jason turned to leave, a cold determination settled over me. He thought he could just walk away, destroy our family without consequences? No, this wasn't over, not by a long shot. "Jason," I called out, my voice steady. He paused at the door. "You have no idea what you've just started." The morning after Jason's confession, I sat at the kitchen table, my untouched coffee growing cold. My phone buzzed incessantly with messages from friends, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. How could I explain that my perfect life had shattered overnight? I heard the front door open. "Martha?" It was Irene, my mother-in-law. "In here," I called, forcing a smile as she entered. Irene's face was etched with concern. "Jason called us. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry." I swallowed hard. "Did he tell you everything?" She nodded, sitting beside me. "We're shocked. We raised him better than this." "What am I going to do, Irene?" My voice cracked. She squeezed my hand. "We'll figure it out together. Your family." As grateful as I was for her support, a part of me bristled. Would she still stand by me when push came to shove? "Have you told anyone else?" Irene asked gently. I shook my head. "I can't face them. Not yet. Maybe that's for the best," she said. "We should keep this within the family for now." Her words sparked something in me. Keep it in the family? Why should I protect Jason's reputation? But then a thought struck me. If I kept quiet, I could plan my next move without interference, without well-meaning friends trying to fix things. "You're right," I said, meeting Irene's gaze. "This stays between us." She smiled, relieved. "We'll get through this, dear. Jason will come to his senses." I nodded, but inside a cold determination was taking root. Jason wouldn't get off that easily. He'd destroyed our family, and now? Now it was my turn to make him pay. As Irene left, promising to check in later, I felt a strange calm settle over me. I knew what I had to do. It was time to plan my revenge. I stood in the kitchen, mechanically chopping vegetables for a dinner I had no appetite for, when I heard the front door open. Voices drifted in. Jason's, Irene's, Gary's, and a fourth, unfamiliar one. My hand tightened on the knife. "Martha?" Jason called out. "We're home. Can you come to the living room?" Taking a deep breath, I set down the knife and wiped my hands. This was it. The moment I'd been dreading. I walked into the living room, my head held high, and there she was, Violet. Young, beautiful, and clinging to Jason's arm like she belonged there. "Martha," Jason said, his voice strained. "This is Violet." Violet stepped forward, a saccharine smile on her face. "It's so nice to finally meet you, Martha. I've heard so much about you." "I bet you have," I thought bitterly. But outwardly I forced a smile. "Likewise." Gary cleared his throat. "Martha, we know this is difficult, but we're all family here. We need to find a way to make this work." I turned to him, incredulous. "Make this work? Are you serious?" Irene stepped in. "What Gary means is, for the sake of the children." "Don't," I cut her off. "Don't you dare use my children as an excuse for this farce." Jason frowned. "Martha, please, we're trying to be civil here." "Civil?" I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. "You destroy our family, parade your mistress into our home, and expect me to be civil?" The room fell silent. Violet had the decency to look uncomfortable, but Jason just looked annoyed. In that moment, something inside me snapped. I'd been holding on to hope that this was all a bad dream, that Jason would come to his senses. But seeing them all there, united against me, I realized the truth. I was on my own, and if I wanted justice, I'd have to take matters into my own hands. "You want civil?" I said, my voice eerily calm. "Fine, I'll show you civil." The house felt emptier than ever. Jason had moved out, taking half our life with him. I wandered from room to room, memories haunting every corner. Our wedding photo still hung in the hallway, mocking me with its frozen smiles. My phone buzzed, another message from Sarah, my best friend. "Martha, please call me. I'm worried about you." I sighed, ignoring it. How could I explain this mess? The betrayal, the humiliation, the anger that burned in my chest. As I passed Jason's study, something caught my eye. His laptop, forgotten in his haste to leave. I hesitated for a moment before stepping inside. The password was easy, our anniversary date. He'd never bothered to change it. My hands shook as I opened his emails. There it was, in black and white. Correspondence with a realtor about a new house. Plans for a future that didn't include me. Tears blurred my vision. I was about to close the laptop when another email caught my eye. It was from Violet to Jason, sent just yesterday. "Darling, don't worry about Martha. Once we're married, we'll have access to everything. Trust me, I know how to handle these situations." Cold fury washed over me. They weren't just planning a future. They were plotting to take everything I'd worked for. In that moment, something inside me hardened. I'd been playing defense, trying to salvage what was left of my life. But now it was time to fight back. I picked up my phone, my fingers hovering over Sarah's number. No, I couldn't drag her into this. This was my battle. I opened a new document on the laptop and began to type. Plan A, protect assets. Plan B, expose Violet. For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of hope. They thought I was a pushover, a doormat they could walk all over. Well, they were about to learn just how wrong they were. I smiled grimly. Let the games begin. I sat at my computer, heart racing as I scrolled through the results of my investigation into Violet's past. What I found made my blood run cold. Violet wasn't just a homewrecker. She was a professional. 3 previous marriages, all to wealthy men, all ended in messy divorces where she walked away with substantial settlements. She was a gold digger, plain and simple. My hands shook as I dialed Jason's number. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Martha? What's wrong?" "We need to talk," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "It's about Violet." There was a pause. "What about her?" "I know everything, Jason. Her past marriages, the divorces, the settlements. She's using you." "That's ridiculous," he scoffed. "You're just jealous." "Am I?" I countered. "Check her background yourself. You'll see I'm right." I heard muffled voices, then Violet came on the line. "Listen here, Martha," she hissed. "You need to back off. Jason's made his choice." "I know what you are," I said coldly, "and I won't let you destroy my family." She laughed. "You can't prove anything, and even if you could, who would believe you over me?" The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my mind racing. She was right. I needed proof. Something concrete that would expose her true nature to everyone. I turned back to my computer, determination fueling me. There had to be something I was missing, some piece of evidence that would blow this whole thing wide open. As I dug deeper into Violet's past, a notification popped up on my screen. An email from Jason's lawyer. My heart sank as I read the contents. Jason was filing for divorce, and he wanted everything: the house, the savings, even custody of our children. I felt the walls closing in. This was it, the moment that could break me. But as I looked at the damning evidence about Violet on my screen, a fierce resolve took hold. I wouldn't go down without a fight. It was time to show them both what I was truly capable of. My hands trembled as I clutched the folder containing all the evidence against Violet. Today was the day I'd expose her for who she truly was. I'd called a family meeting, inviting Jason, his parents, and of course, Violet herself. As I entered the living room, the tension was palpable. Jason and Violet sat together on the couch, while Gary and Irene occupied the armchairs. All eyes turned to me. "Thank you all for coming," I began, my voice steadier than I felt. "I have something important to share." I opened the folder and started laying out documents on the coffee table. Violet isn't who she claims to be. She's been married 3 times before, each time to wealthy men, and each time she's walked away with substantial settlements. Jason's face paled. "What are you talking about?" I handed him the divorce papers, watching as realization dawned on his face. "She's a professional gold digger, Jason. She's using you for your money." Violet stood up, her eyes flashing. "How dare you? These are lies." But I wasn't finished. I pulled out bank statements showing large transfers from her previous husbands. "It's all here, Violet, your pattern, your modus operandi. You can't deny it." The room fell silent. Jason looked shell-shocked, while Gary and Irene exchanged worried glances. Then, to everyone's surprise, Violet laughed. "So what if it's true? At least I'm honest about what I want, unlike you, Martha, playing the perfect wife while secretly resenting every minute of it." Her words stung, but I held my ground. "Jason, please, see her for what she is." I watched, hope rising in my chest as Jason stood up. But instead of coming to me, he moved to stand beside Violet. "I'm sorry, Martha," he said, his voice cold. "But I've made my choice. I want a divorce." Gary cleared his throat. "Son, maybe you should think about this." "No," Jason cut him off. "My mind's made up. Violet and I are leaving. Tonight." As they walked out, leaving me standing there with my useless evidence, I felt my world crumbling. I'd played my last card and I'd lost. Everything I'd fought for was slipping away, and I was powerless to stop it. I stood in the empty living room, surrounded by boxes. The house that had once been my home now felt like a prison. It was time to leave. As I picked up the last box, my phone buzzed, a text from Jason. "Can we talk?" I ignored it, walking out to my packed car. Another buzz, this time an email notification. I hesitated, then opened it. It was from Jason's business partner, Tom. "Martha, I'm sorry about everything. You should know. Violet approached me last week, trying to get insider information on the company. I've informed the board. Thought you should know." A bitter laugh escaped me. So, Violet had already moved on to her next target. I forwarded the email to Jason without comment. As I drove away, my phone exploded with messages. Jason, begging to talk. Violet, threatening legal action. I silenced them all. My first stop was my lawyer's office. I handed over the documents I'd gathered on Violet along with Tom's email. "Use these in the divorce proceedings," I said. "I want what's fair, nothing more." Next, I drove to my new apartment. It was small, but it was mine. As I unpacked, I felt a weight lifting from my shoulders. That evening, I sat on my tiny balcony watching the sunset. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Irene. "Martha, dear, we've been so blind. Can you ever forgive us?" I took a deep breath. "In time, Irene, in time." As I put the phone down, I realized I was smiling. For the first time in months, I felt free. Jason, Violet, the betrayal, they no longer defined me. I picked up a notebook and began to write. Not plans for revenge, but dreams for my future. A future that was entirely my own. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues. As darkness fell, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. This wasn't an ending, I realized. It was a beginning, and I was ready for whatever came next.